So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar of the month. Today, we're going to be talking about the top marketing channels for design and remodel companies that they should be using in 2022. There were a few of you all that were at the KBIZ event a couple of weeks ago. When was that? 2 weeks ago. And if you were in the presentation, you would see I had talked about 3 of them. And so this is all of them that we did the research on. So there are 10 that we're going to talk about, and feel free to ask any questions during, you don't have to wait to the end, but feel free to ask any questions that you may have, and let's begin. The topics that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the importance of digital marketing, the categories of marketing channels, and then the top marketing channels for design and remodel companies in this industry. All right. So everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, it should be everybody, but most small business owners want to make it big online, but a lot of people don't know which platforms to use or how to really go about it. So today we're going to talk about some of the platforms that you should be using and how you ought to utilize them. And then we have some tips on each of them as well. And at the end, if interested, we have an infographic that we're going to hand out too. And if you're watching this on the replay and you want to get access to that infographic, just reach out to us. We'll have the contact information at the end. So you can reach out to us to get that actual infographic as well, okay? So the importance of digital marketing. If you are not doing any type of online marketing, you are dropping the ball to an extent, because there are some benefits to digital marketing, and these are just a few here. Better ROI. So in terms of creating strategies, most of the time it could be cost effective. Not always. Not all. There are some advertising where when you think about flyers or anything like that, like offline, that may be a little cheaper, but in terms of ROI, return on investment, there are a few other marketing channels that can beat online marketing. Fast results. That's true for some of the marketing channels that we talk about today. Some of the channels, and I'm gonna get into them, into that, are longer term, but there are some marketing channels that are fast to see a turnaround and to see our ROI. And one of them that we are gonna talk about is PPC, pay-per-click advertising. And that one, you can, within a relatively short amount of time, see some ROI from that. You also have Facebook ads and Instagram ads as well that can have a faster turnaround time in terms of the digital marketing. Whereas if you did TV or radio or something like that, you may not have the instant impact, but you can over time. So we're going to talk about some of the differences there. Brand awareness. With any type of marketing strategy, having brand that is recognizable is vital. And you'll see in terms of any type of marketing that you'll see online, if you just turn on the TV, if you still have a TV, because I know, a lot of people now just watch everything online and they skip commercials. But if you saw the Super Bowl, a lot of the ads there, most of the ads were not about wanting you to buy now. It was all about brand awareness. And it was a lot of the big brands, you had the Budweisers, you had the Facebook or Metaverse, and a lot of the commercials that you saw, there was not a lot of CTAs, call to actions, but it was more about brand awareness. And online marketing is all about that. That it helps you a lot with brand awareness, and we're going to talk about that. Qualified leads. This again, depending on how you use it, you can get a lot of qualified leads. I hear a lot of designers that talk about leads from online marketing. They say they get bad leads, or the leads that they generate are not quality. A lot of the times when I talk to potential prospects or actually clients of our own on how they are running ads, a lot of the times they're running it the wrong way, or they're actually targeting the wrong audience. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And trackability. If you're doing any type of online marketing, any type of digital marketing, you should be tracking it, but it's actually easier to track online marketing than it is to if you were to do a television commercial or a radio ad, or if you did flyers. It's easier for you to track because it's digital. And any type of platform that you use, whether you're doing PPC ads or Google AdWords or Facebook ads, SEO, social media, there are analytics that help you track a lot of this, which makes digital marketing one of the preferred ways to do your marketing strategy because you can track it. It's easier to track than it is a lot of the offline methods. Okay. So some of the categories of marketing channels. So you have your B2B, which you have social media, website, blogging, and SEO. Now, a lot of these overlap. It's not always just for one or the other. A lot of these overlap. You have the B2C, so that's the business to customer. And then you have email, you have PPC, you have omnichannel. Omnichannel may be new to a few of you all that are either watching this live or on the replay. We're going to talk about that a little later. Marketing channel for sales. So you have URL or article submissions. That's a lot of old school offline. You have the networking, and then you have community. Then you have brand promotion, which you have video, web design, social media, and you also have where I talked about the TV and radio ads there as well. So these are just a few of the channels in each of the different categories. And then we're going to mainly talk about B2B and B2C on the digital marketing realm. Okay. So the first one we're going to cover here is content marketing. There's a saying we have in the digital marketing world: content is king. So you want to really look at the content that you're generating and making sure that it is targeted to your ideal audience. And so I talk a lot about developing and defining who your target audience is. And once you have defined that audience, the content that you generate for that audience needs to be targeted to them. And once you target it to your ideal audience, a lot of the issues you have with unsubscribes, we're going to talk about email a little later, and others saying about this is not relevant, you won't have that because you're now targeting your right audience. And the content that you generate, whether that content is on your website, whether that content is on social media, on video, whether you're doing newsletters, whatever that content is, it needs to be relevant to your target audience, not to everybody. We have a saying in the marketing world: if you're trying to market to everybody, you're actually marketing to no one. So knowing your audience helps you generate better content. And so one of the tips that we have here is, and I'm going to jump straight to the tip and then talk about some of this other stuff, but answerthepublic.com. This actually helps you to know what the end user or the prospect is typing in and what are the questions that they're asking. What are they looking for? And if you know what your end user or your prospect wants to know, or what the questions that they're asking, it's easier for you now to generate content that will resonate with them. So this is a website that we recommend to a lot of the prospects that may not work with us directly, because if we work with you, we'll do a lot of this on your behalf. But if you're doing a lot of the marketing on your own, and we talk to, and we also have a podcast where we share a lot of this information, and we tell end users, or we actually speak to the designers out there, and we say, find websites like Answer the Public. There's a lot of other websites out there, but this is one of the ones we recommend that tells you what your end user or your customer is typing in, what they want to know. Because now you can create content, whether that be articles, infographics, white papers, checklists, or whatever that may be for you. Now you're generating content that resonates with them. And that's really because you want to answer the questions that they have. And that's how they learn out who you are and find out about you. And you're actually starting to create content that they want to see. And by knowing what they want to know and what they're typing in, that actually builds you as a thought provider. Okay, so that's what you really want to be in this industry. Hopefully, designers are on here trying to figure out how best to get to your end user. And one of the best ways that is out there for marketing is generating content, because that builds you as a thought leader. And if you're answering questions that they want to know, and if you're answering them the right way and providing value, now they're going to come back to you and they're going to view you as a leader in the industry. And it's easier for you to have them interested in what you have to say because you're providing value to the marketplace. Okay. The next one we have here is social media. And a lot of you all that are here live or that are watching on the recording know that social media, it's unavoidable. A lot of designers that we talk to hate social media. They hate Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, all of these platforms. They hate these platforms, but to be honest, it's a necessary evil. So social media is where a lot of your end users or your prospects are. That they're using those platforms, they're on those platforms, they're there to either engage with their audience or their friends or family, or to find out information. A lot of people nowadays turn to social media before they turn to the news. And so you need to utilize that to your advantage. And so if you are generating content on these social media platforms that is useful and helpful, like I said, that can make you the thought leader that in the end, they now turn to you when they are looking for the answers or they're looking for information. Okay. And just a few tips on the social media side. You want to focus on the platform that your audience is using. And so like I talk about, and like I say all the time, once you identify your target audience, now you can figure out where they are. What platform are they utilizing? And so that's the platform that you want to create the content for. You want to define what your goals and metrics are. So why are you using that specific platform? You want to define that and you want to use the metrics. Like we had talked about in one of the other slides, is one of the advantages to online marketing is just the metrics and that you can find out from all of this. Just being able to track a lot of this information, and a lot of the digital marketing channels have analytics and data that can help determine what is working and what is not working. And one of the things that you need to do if you have profiles, especially business, you need to have a business profile. A lot of clients, and we just had a client that only has personal profiles on Instagram and Facebook. And one of the first things we mentioned to her is you need to have a business profile, because now you get access to the analytics, and that tells you what the end user or the prospect is doing. Where are they visiting? Where are they clicking from? How long are they there? What are they, when they're on the site or when they're on your social media or your blog or wherever, how much time are they spending? What are they doing? So all of this information helps you to now optimize your campaigns to better get an ROI at the end of the day. Okay. And then we had talked about the content and resources, and you want to have some type of post scheduler. There's a lot of them out there: Hootsuite, Lumi, Social Pilot. We use Soho Social, and there's others out there. But you want to have some type of post scheduler, so you are not having to post every day. Because a lot of the times, what we hear from designers is that they just don't have the time. But if you can create the content ahead of time and then post it throughout the week or throughout the month, now it's happening without you having to be there every day. Now, you should check to see if there's any comments or anything like that, because you want to engage with your users or your audience. But you want to schedule your posts so you're not having to do that every day. Okay. And these are just some of the tools that, as designers and remodelers, that you should be using. Facebook, obviously, use that as your primary platform. You need to have Facebook as one of the platforms that you run. Facebook has the most users of any social media platform. So by having a profile, a business profile on that platform, it just helps you, and it helps with your brand recognition as well. Instagram and Pinterest are two of the platforms that are very popular for designers. Pinterest is the new magazine. If you remember in the old days, homeowners, they used to use magazines to air out all of the furniture and all of the appliances and the layouts that they like. That's what they used to bring to designers to say, okay, this is how we want our room to look. Now, Pinterest is that platform that they use to find out the latest trends or what they like and what they don't like, and they bring to designers as what they're using. So just to have a platform or just to have a profile on that platform is good, because now you could potentially be one of the layouts or one of the profiles that the end user find. And now they get to know, like, and trust you, and then eventually, hopefully, buy from you. So if you're in the B2B space, so for a lot of the designers that do commercial work, LinkedIn will be a good platform for you, because this is where a lot of the CEOs, the CFOs, the directors of the company, this is where they are. And so this is where you need to put content out to get in front of them and build your brand awareness on that platform. So what we tell a lot of the prospects or designers that we don't work with directly, because like I said, if we're working with the client, we do a lot of this on their behalf. But for a lot of the prospects that we work with that may do their own social media, we say, first define your target audience. Where are they and what platforms are they using? Define that main platform, develop the content for that main platform, and curate it for the other platforms. So for instance, if most of your clients are on Instagram or Pinterest, you may want to develop the content for that platform and then use that same information and then optimize it for the other platforms. So you're not having to create content just for Facebook, just for Instagram, just for Pinterest, just for Twitter, just for LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. You're using the main platform where your audience is, and then that same information, you're curating it or you're optimizing it for the other platforms. Okay, and that saves you time, and you can schedule all of this ahead of time. Like we said with the scheduler, hit that scheduler so you can schedule it out ahead of time. All right. The next one is website and blogging. You need to have your own website. There's a story that I like to use every time. There's a client we brought on about 2 years ago that had everything on Facebook. She had all of her business on the Facebook platform, did everything. She would drive all of her traffic to her Facebook business profile, which is good because she had a business profile as opposed to a personal profile. So that's a plus. But one of her people ran ads on her behalf, and they did not look at the current policies and procedures. One thing you have to know about social media, they are constantly changing their policies and procedures, and you have to be up to date on what is new and what you can and what you cannot do with the platform. So one of her people ran ads on her behalf and did not look at the current. They were relying on the old policies, and procedures, and they did not know the new policies and procedures. And they got their ad and they got their profile shut down for 6 weeks. So for 6 weeks, she did not have access to her business profile. Now, I'm asking you as a business owner, what kind of impact would that have on your business if you didn't have access to your profile or access to any of your business information for 6 weeks? And so that's what happened to her. And so that's why she built a website and she came to us for that. But you need to have a website. A website is at a minimum one of the things you should have, because it's a property that you own. You do not own any of the social media platforms. You do not own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on and on and on. As we saw last year, what happened with Metaverse, just before Metaverse came on board for a whole day, all of Facebook properties are Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they all went down for 24 hours. And I heard from a lot of our own clients that were saying, like, what happened? One client that had an email newsletter, and we're going to talk about that in a little while, sent out an email to her list and got a sale because she was able to inform her audience about what was happening when all of Facebook properties went down. But she had a property and she had a website to drive them to, because she owned her website, she owned her email list. And so those are the two things I say: you need your own website, you need your own email list, because you own those properties. So, and we're going to talk about SEO a little later. But we had talked a little bit about answer the public, but you want to know your audience, and this you can also use answer the public for blogging as well, because when you know what the audience wants to know, because we had talked about this with content, when you know what your audience wants to know and what they're asking of the search engine, what they're inquisitive about, what they're querying, now you can develop content and you can develop blogs that answers those questions, and it's more likely to be found because you know that's what they're looking for, as opposed to you assume that's what they're looking for. So this is just a tip that you want to use for your blogging efforts, okay? Email marketing, just talked about that. That's another property that you want to own. Like I said, you want to have. Email and website are the two properties I said at a minimum you need to have, because you own those properties. Nobody can take them from you, and you can get your message out there. So you define what your message is. You define what your brand is through these platforms, okay? And some of the tips here, knowing who your target audience is. A lot of the times when I hear from clients or I hear from prospects or designers that say, I've done email marketing, it does not work, it's just a waste of time, I usually ask to see what their email is all about and what's happening. And what I find a lot of time, not all the time, but what I find a lot of the time is that there's not a lot of value in the email. And so, as we had said, and as I like to say, clients will not buy from you until they know you care. And so if you are putting out emails or newsletters that are all about you, and one of the designers that we work with, before we optimized and we really started to take over her email marketing, we looked at what she was doing, and what we found, it was a lot about her. Now, she's an award-winning designer, does great work, but the majority of the email was about her and her projects, and this is what she did, and this is what she did for a client, but it wasn't about the end user or what they wanted to know. So when we flip that and use the 80-20 rule, where it's 80% value, 20% self-promotion, now we were providing the end user or the prospect with the information that they wanted to hear or what they wanted to know. Now they're opening up the emails more. Now they're interested in what she has to offer, because they're offering her value first. And then, like I said, 80% value, 20% self-promotion. And now they're starting to see and hear what she has to say, okay? And when you know your audience and you're creating content for you, number two, engaging content is automatic. Because once you know who your audience is, now you're creating content that they want to know and what they're asking about, and it's going to automatically be engaging because you're creating content for them, okay? And you may have where we actually had a client that she optimized her email list and she optimized her emails. And when she started to develop content for her target audience, she actually had a lot of people sign off and unsubscribe from her email list. And she came to us in a panic and like, well, there's a lot of people unsubscribing. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, that's what you want, because now you're going to only attract people that are really interested in what you have to offer. The people that are unsubscribing, they are really not your target audience. But you're going to get people now that really want to hear what you have to say. So don't worry about the people that are unsubscribing. You want to worry about the people that are now on your list, and you want to provide content that they're wanting to hear about and learn about and know about. And so over time, that particular client grew their email list and started to have sales from their email list. And it's all about knowing your audience, creating content that's engaging. And you create that content because you know what they want, because it's just your target audience. And then at the back end, you can offer up your service or product. That's the 20%. But once you provided the value, now it's easier for you to do the 20% self-promotion because they're open to it at that point. All right. Next is video. Video is one of the most used marketing channels nowadays. Anything on social media, if you look at Instagram, Facebook, they're now promoting video more so than anything else. Static posts nowadays does not have the reach it used to have. video is now the way to go. One of the reasons is because of TikTok. TikTok is one of the fastest growing platforms out there, and it's because of the video integration and the video on that platform. So Instagram has now did a whole optimization of their algorithm based on video. So if you are not using video, especially in social media, you are dropping the ball and you're not being as effective as you can be. Okay. And then what we have here is just a stat that 91% of buyers prefer interactive visual content, and that's video, over just static posts. And that's just the changing dynamic of what's happening now. And video is where it's at. So some video tips are you need to repurpose content. So some of the static posts that you have right now, it's easy to turn that into a slideshow. Facebook now has a slideshow creator where you can drop 4 or 5 images. You can upload 4 or 5 images into their creator and turn it into media slideshow. Canva, now one of the features I should say they have is you can turn a lot of the static images into animation. So creating video is not as hard as it used to be. And it's easier for you to get in the video game by using some of your old content and repurposing it for video. And video helps to boost your awareness because, like I said, now a lot of the platforms are promoting that video. So it's easier for the other platforms to promote you when you have video because that's what they're looking for, as opposed to the static content. Defining your unique value proposition or your UVP. That goes back to knowing who your target audience is. And once you know who your target audience is, now you know now you can reverse engineer and figure out what their issues or their problems are. And you can figure out how are you the solution provider to what their issues are? And that is developing your unique value proposition. What makes you different than any of the other designers or remodelers in your area that helps you stand out? And by defining your UVP or your unique value proposition, now when you create the video or you create your messaging through your content and you know who your target audience is, now you can sell yourself or just help to differentiate yourself from the other designers or remodelers out there by defining what your UVP, what sets you apart from everybody else. And if you're able to do that in video, now it's helping you to stand out because not everybody is using video. There's a lot of people that are not doing it today. They're still using the static posts. But if you're using video, that's helping you step up from everybody else in your area, okay? Also, video helps you become a thought leader. It helps you become that leader in the industry because now people are seeing you. They're hearing you. They're hearing your voice. And end users or prospects, they want to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. The more they see you, the more they hear you. Now, we actually had a podcast on this where we talked about they feel like they know you. It's that dynamic that they're hearing your voice, they're seeing your face over and over again. Now, when they see an ad or they see something come across their screen or their phone, now they're more likely to interact because they feel like they know you because they're being hearing from you and seeing you all the time. And so video helps you to get out there more and it helps you to become that thought leader in the industry. So those are just a few things that video can do for you, okay? Influencer marketing, this is one of the growing trends that has, within the last few years, this has grown a lot. So influencers, and this is just a stat here, 71% of marketers say that the quality of traffic generated from influencer marketing is better than other ad formats. So influencers does not have to be the big designers of the group. It does not have to be that. An influencer nowadays can be your micro influencer. You can be an influencer, honestly. You have an audience within your own circle of that you have influence around. So you have your own circle of influence now. So your friends, family, your colleagues, you already have influence around them. And so what's happening now is that people are relying more on what others are saying about your business as opposed to what you say yourself. And so influencers can help you get past a lot of that because they have influence with their direct audience to help to promote your brand to their audience that may be interested in what you have to offer. So these are just a few websites here that help you connect with other influencers that may help you to sell your service or product. Okay, there's a lot of them out there. These are just a few that we have here that you can try out just to see. And each of them have their own different price point. They have their own different requirements in terms of what you can offer. So not all of them will be specific to designers, but the three we have here are aimed at design and remodeling. That's why we had picked these out. But there are others out there. But you want to talk to them and investigate what are the offerings and what's best for you, if it's a good fit for you, because influencer marketing may not be right for you, but you just want to investigate to see if that's a marketing tip or a platform or channel that you want to utilize. Okay. Search engine optimization, or SEO for short. This is one of the tried and true channels that has been around since the dawn of the internet. So this is one of the oldest platforms out there, but I will argue one of the best in terms of ROI. Now, if you remember in one of the earlier slides where we have fast results, you could get fast results from a lot of these channels. This is one of the channels that does not return a fast ROI. If you're doing SEO right, not black hat. Now, there's a lot of black hat techniques that can get you leads and notoriety and visibility fast, but those will not last, and it'll probably get your website banned or slapped, and you do not want that. But if you're doing SEO or search engine optimization the right way, this is a long-term benefit, a long-term marketing channel that will benefit you for years to come. Usually on average, and this is average, each market is not the same. So what I'm saying, use this with a grain of salt. But when you're doing local SEO, usually in between 6 to 8 months is when you can start to see an ROI or traction. When you're talking about regionally, multiple cities, multiple states, usually you're looking at 9 to 12 months. And nationally, because at national level, you're now competing with the big boys. You're competing with the Home Depots of the world, with the Lowe's of the world, with the Bath Planets of the world, with the big brand names that have thousands, if not millions, to spend on SEO and marketing. You're looking at a year, year and a half before you even have any type of ROI or any type of return. So you need to think about that when you're contemplating doing SEO on your own, or you want to hire an SEO company or another type of marketing agency. That if SEO is one of the channels that you want to utilize, that's a long-term strategy. It's a great strategy. And if you're in it for the long haul, I would say this should be one of the strategies that you use. But short term, this is not one of the channels that will return an ROI or return on investment instantly. You're looking at months, if not a year, before you start to see some ROI from that. But some of the things that you can start to do on your own website now for free without having to interview SEO firms or anything like that, you want to look at the images on your website. So a lot of the time, designers have great websites and they have portfolios with amazing images, but the search engines or the bots cannot read the images. And so you want to make sure that you describe what the image is about so the bots can now read what the image is about. And one of the pet peeves that the search engines hate is website speed. That is one of the ranking factors in SEO. And designers are notorious for having large images to showcase their before and afters, which is great. But the search engines do not like that because the slower your website goes, the less effective it is on SEO. So one of the websites here, Tiny JPG, there's also Tiny PNG as well, looks at your images and it shrinks it. It holds on to the image quality, but it shrinks the overall size of the image so it's not bogging down your website. So that's one that you want to use. Also, GT Metrics is another website that we recommend. This looks at website speed, all of the SEO ranking factors, and it puts out a report on, it hands you a grade from A to F. Obviously, A is great, F is bad. But it gives you information on why you got the grade. So if you had a C, it says, yes, you did X, Y, Z good, but in these areas you need to improve. And it hands you suggestions on what you need to do. Now, I'm gonna just let you know, I'm gonna forewarn you now, if you put your website in there into GT Metrics, you're gonna get a lot of information. Hopefully you either are working with an SEO company or you have somebody on staff that can do this. But if you're a one-man or a one-woman shop, I would not suggest you try to optimize your website on your own for SEO, because it is going to take too much of your time. This is where, if SEO is channel that you want to utilize, I would say either bring somebody in-house to help you out or hire out for that, because SEO is an ongoing process and there's a lot of changes and optimization that you need to do. Okay. Audio content is one that is growing, and this is one of the platforms or one of the channels that in 2020 blew up with the coronavirus. So audio marketing is a platform that it's easy to consume, because nowadays most people have a mobile device and they have either podcasts that they listen to, or they have music that they listen to, or some type of device, whether that be a mobile device or whether that be an iPad or some type of device that they can listen to audio through. And so this is one of the channels that not a lot of designers are utilizing, that they should be or can be if you have the time to really promote your brand and get your name out there and get the services that you offer out there to your local, regional, and national audience. So some of the channels that you can look at are podcasts, obviously, Clubhouse, and there's other platforms out there other than Clubhouse. So you have the Twitter Spaces, and you have LinkedIn Live, you have Facebook Live, you have YouTube Live. So there are a lot of platforms where you may have video associated with it, but you can just listen to audio and still do your work. Because what happened a lot in 2022 is that a lot of people that were working in the office, now they're working from home. They were lonely now because they were used to being in the office with a lot of other people. And so audio became one of the ways for them to connect. And so audio grew a lot in 2020, and it grew a lot in 2021, and it's continuing to grow. So using audio in your marketing efforts is something, like I said, if you have the time, is one of those channels you should utilize. And these are just a few, but if you have the time, you ought to think about really utilizing these platforms or these channels. Okay. Word of mouth marketing, one of the oldest forms of marketing that's out there. From the dawn of man, when a service was performed, if you did a good job, obviously they were talking about it to their friends, family, or whatever. So word of mouth marketing is a channel that will never go away. That will never go away. And like this stat here says, 70% of consumers say that trusting a brand is more important than ever before. And that trust is built with how you deal with your own clients. So if you are good to your own clients, you provide them with good service or products, now they're your evangelists. And when they talk to their friends, family, and colleagues, now they're talking about your brand to others. So one of the things with the word of mouth marketing is reviews, testimonials, and reviews. One of the things we talk about all the time, and this actually helps you out a lot in SEO, is making sure that you have testimonials from your current and past clients that can speak to working with you and what it was like to work with you, and talk about how great you are. We always, whenever I send out proposals, I always send out a video from a current client that talks about how it is working with us. I send out information in terms of contact information that they can reach out to so they can contact clients So they're not just hearing from me or from my team how great we are. They're hearing from either current clients or past clients that have worked with us that have had a great experience. So one of the things that I always talk to designers about is making sure they have current testimonials. If you have testimonials, you want to make sure that they're current, not from 4, 5, 6 years ago. So there are platforms out there. There are a number of review platforms. If I didn't mention a lot, because there's a lot of them out there. We have one that we utilize, which if you want to know, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to share. And we also have one that we use for our own clients that I'll be happy to share. If you want to know, like I said, reach out to us. I'll be happy to let you know what that is. But make sure that you are actively going out and getting reviews. Now, you don't have to use a platform. I say a platform because it automates the process. So a lot of the times, a lot of clients do the big reveal of the space, and then they don't ask for the review. And that's actually the perfect time to ask for a review is when they're at their most happiest. You've completed the project, you did the big reveal. Now they're happy. Oh man, I have my space, whether that be kitchen, bath, whatever it is, whatever space that is that you've just completed, they're now happy. That is the time to ask them for a review. But by chance you forget or everything, that is where you want to have a follow-up process. And that's where I say the platform, because that's the follow-up process to make sure that you can claim that review and it can now be posted on your social media, on your website, or wherever else you want to promote that. And so that's the purpose of having the platform, is that follow-up sequence that you may not be able to do directly, or you or your team may not have time to do, that the platform can then follow up on your behalf, get the review and post it to where you want it to be posted. Okay, so that's just one of the advantages there. But regardless if you use a platform or if you do it by yourself, make sure you get the review. And if you could get a video review, like I talked about with video, that's by far better than a written review. But at minimum, you need to get some type of written review from your current clients, so you can showcase that to potential clients and prospects that may want to work with you. Okay. And then lastly is the omnichannel approach. This is one of the approaches nowadays that is used by a lot of marketers. And this stat here where we have HubSpot research shows that 92% of marketers leverage more than one channel and 81% leverage more than 3. So in essence, what the omni-channel approach is that you are marketing to your end users or to your prospects where they are. And they are able to find you on multiple platforms, on multiple channels. So you're not just marketing on your website. You're also marketing on social media. You're also marketing through your podcast or through Clubhouse. You're also doing email marketing. You're also doing PPC. Whatever that is for you, like I said, you don't need to do all of, because we went over a lot here and there's a lot of channels, and these are not all of the channels, but these are the top for 2022. But at the same time, you may not have a chance to do all 9 or all 10 of these. But like I said, by you finding your ideal audience and finding out where they are, now you can reverse engineer and figure out what channels are they on, where do I need to be? So what social media platform are they on? So you don't have to be on all of them. You have to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of that. You may find that most of your audience is on Instagram. So now you may have profiles for the other platforms, but most of your content is being generated on Instagram and is being curated or optimized for the other platforms. And now that same content, hopefully you're using that to create your blog. That same content, hopefully you're using that to be either on your podcast or on your audio. That same content is being sent out through an email newsletter. Now you're using the omni-channel approach to be everywhere your end user is. And so they're seeing you over and over and over again. Most prospects or end users do not buy from you from the first recognition of who you are. They need to see you and hear you 7 to 8 times before they buy. We're going to have a podcast out on this, the sales sequence and how many times an end user or a buyer needs to hear from you before they buy from you. Usually it's in between 7 and 10 times before they even know who you are. They have to see you 7 to 10 times before they even recognize, oh, okay, I've seen him or her, or I've seen this business over and over again. What do they have to offer? Even though they've seen it multiple times, they ignored it. Now they're starting to pay attention to you. Now you're in their ecosphere. Now you can start to relate and generate that content. Hopefully you've already been generating content that resonates with them. And now they're starting to understand and see, okay, now I want to hear what he or she has to offer. So on the omni-channel approach or marketing, at a minimum, you want to have a Google My Business profile, which is now called Google Business Profile. You need to have this profile at a minimum because it's free. You don't have to pay anyone to set this up. There's a link that we have here that you can head to start to set this up on your own time. And if you go to our website under Resource Library, we have a Google My Business article, which has a link to show you the step-by-step on how to get to and optimize all this and do all of this. But at a minimum, you need to have Google My Business, which is now called Google Business Profile, because it's free to set up. And this is one of the omni-channel approaches, because now you not only have your website, now you have a Google Business Profile, which helps out with your SEO as well, because this is where they find out about the map pack. So this is how you get into the maps area. So this is one of the omni-channel approaches that now get you out there. Another one that we didn't talk about in any of the other is text message marketing. Now, this is one of the platforms that a lot of our clients are using now. It's a little more cost effective than a lot of the other platforms that we had talked about, because no matter what, a lot of your end user prospects will check their phone. They will check a text message. Now, if you're messaging them and it's not relevant and the frequency is high, they will opt out and say stop. But if you're providing value and you're delivering on messages that they want to hear, they want to continue to hear from you. And this is a channel that can be beneficial to you. Now, this is not for everyone, but this is another channel that you could possibly use in your market. Okay. So those were the channels that we had talked about today. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer them. And like I said, visit our resource library. It has a lot of information, a lot of what we talked about today. We have a lot of training videos. We've done a lot of CEU, NKBA, National Kitchen and Bath Association. We've done a lot of CEU sessions. A lot of this information that you can find, and if you don't know, because this is high level on a lot of these channels. So a lot of these channels here, we've already done videos on how to really optimize your website, how to optimize your SEO, how to optimize or utilize email marketing, how to optimize your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, Pinterest. We have training videos on a lot of this. So go to our resource library for a lot of this information you'll find there if you want to work with us, because this is a lot of information we went over, and we know a lot of you all may not have the time to do this on your own. So we are a marketing agency and we're full service, and these are all the services we provide: SEO, PPC, web design, and on and on and on. But we're a little different than a lot of other marketing agencies out there, because we really know this industry. And I know you may hear that before, but with me as the owner, and I'm an architect by trade, I know the industry, and we work with designers and remodelers on the architectural side daily. So we know the lingo, and we know how to communicate your message to the end user. Because a lot of the times we have clients come to us from other marketing agencies that said they didn't really know how to write our blog, or the content that they were creating was not really relevant to the end user. With us, you don't have to worry about that, because we know the industry. We know how to convey your message to them. And with us also being designers, we're the bridge between the marketing. And so we know marketing, we know the industry, and we're that bridge to help you effectively communicate your message to the end user. So reach out to us. We're here to help, even if you do not work with us, because we don't work with everybody. Have a conversation with us. set up a time to talk to me or somebody on our team to see if it's a good fit, because we have to see if you're a good fit for us and vice versa, if we are a good fit for you. But at the end of the day, I know we can offer you some type of value because we have a ton of information. We have a ton of training videos, and we have a ton of knowledge that even if in a call we cannot help you directly, we can help to point you in the direction and have you get the help that you need to reach that next level. We appreciate your time here today. And next month, we are going to be talking about how to optimize your website for maximum conversion. So a lot of the times we see designers that have great websites and they get a lot of traffic. But if you haven't optimized your website to convert that traffic, you have a leak in your bucket. So next month, we're going to talk about how to plug up that leak so you can hold on to a lot of the traffic that you get and then convert that traffic into actual paying clients. So that's what we're going to talk about next month. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, and have a great rest of your day and a great week. All right. Talk to you later.